Irem was a developer that usually got lost in the shuffle, despite being responsible for series like R-Type and Hammer and Harry, as well as loads of good standalone games. One such game that wasn't destined for mainstream success was Metal Storm, a very difficult action platformer. The main source of difficulty is the one-hit kills. The slightest touch by anything will of course blow your highly advanced mobile suit to smithereens. Combine this with a lot of tricky stage hazards, and you have yourself a hard game. But it's also creative. This game has a gravity mechanic that, unlike, say, Gravity Man stage in Mega Man 5, you can control yourself. By pressing up and A when you're on the floor, and down and A to switch to the other way. You can also switch it while you're in the air. Some enemies get affected by your gravity power, so you need to think ahead a little bit. Some platforms are solid, and some can be jumped through. So sometimes you need to flip gravity, jump up, and flip back, and so on. The stages are laid out in a clever and challenging manner to make the most out of the gravity mechanic. You can shoot left, right, up and down. Thankfully, you can hold down B to shoot continuously, which makes things easier for your thumb without the need of a turbo controller. Although the game does seem to be more about navigating through hazards and avoiding things rather than shooting a horde of enemies. The first stage has mounted guns, which can be tricky to hit without getting hit yourself. The second stage has these electrical traps that close in to crush you as soon as you jump in. The third stage has a track where an enemy keeps riding in regularly that you need to keep in mind as you jump around to avoid the spikes. The fourth stage throws a curveball, keeping you confined to a box while various enemies come at you, and the movement of the stage keeps changing. You'll need to change your strategy with it. There are a selection of power-ups to pick up. My favorite is obviously the one that allows you to take one more hit before dying, but there's also one to make your shot wider, one to let you hit enemies while gravity flipping, as well as bonuses to add time, extra life, or points. Ooh, points. There are also luckily unlimited continues and a password system in the game. Although there are 2 sets of passwords, because if you beat the game you'll get an ending, but not the ending. That requires beating the game's expert mode, featuring more and stronger enemies. No thanks. I have to admit that I didn't like this game at all at first. I thought it was too frustrating, dying in one hit, and I think I was also expecting a more straightforward action game, which this is not. But I do appreciate the well thought out design of this game, which is visible both in the stage designs and in the boss battles. It's one thing to have a hard game which has bad hit detection or a ton of enemies thrown in without any thought, but Metal Storm is difficult by design, smart design, and that is a different matter.